Executive summary. Children today are sicker than they were a generation ago, from childhood cancers to autism, birth defects, and asthma. A wide range of childhood diseases and disorders are on the rise. Our assessment of the latest science leaves little room for doubt. Pesticides are one key driver of this sobering trend. As the recent President's Cancer Panel reports, we have been grossly underestimating the contribution of environmental contamination to disease, and the policies meant to protect us have fallen short, far short. Nearly 20 years ago, scientists at the National Research Council called for swift action to protect young and growing bodies from pesticides. Yet today, U.S. children continue to be exposed to pesticides that are grown to be harmful in places they live, learn, and play. This report reviews dozens of recent studies that examine the impact of pesticides on children's health. Our analysis reveals the following, and there's many. Everybody said it earlier. We value the well-being of our children. In addition to our natural urge to protect what we love, we know that at societal level that their successful development is key to a vibrant, secure future. Poll after poll shows that more than 80% of Americans consider healthy children a top priority. We must line up our practice and policies with these values. As previous speakers provided testimony regarding biotechnology, GMO being beneficial to their operation, it became really clear to me that the benefit is their profitability. Everybody that opposed the bill, it was really about profits, and that was really disheartening for me. Because, I wrote down notes. I urge all those who oppose this bill to consider what will happen when consumers stop purchasing their products that they're so concerned about. I'm committed, again, to increasing awareness, and I'm gonna just close with, we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used to when we created them. Mahalo nui to all of you. I'm gonna change my degree, and I'm probably gonna be working with you someday, and maybe even take Mr. Fresh Onishi's job. I'm just kidding. Yeah, pretty soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Waimea, after this next testifier, I will come back to you and take your testifier.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Crutcher, please go ahead.
Aloha. Thank you so much for this bill. I really support this. There is one thing that concerns me about it, though, and I would like this bill to apply to edible foods or anything that would harm human beings. However, when I heard the gentleman talk about the floral area, if there's something that could be put in, as long as whatever they're using cannot cross-contaminate an edible food, I would really support that they be able to do what they need to do to keep their business going. I also agree with the fact that the other people who did talk for it, against it rather, money was the issue. And I realize people need money to live, but there's times changing, and I know that a lot of the young men who are using pesticides are now switching to the Hawaiian method of growing, and they're finding that everything's growing very naturally and very healthy. So I might suggest that maybe they could start moving into that direction. They might find that their food, I know that when I buy, and I won't say which company I'm buying from, but when I buy their tomatoes, I don't like the taste of it. So I encourage the holistic way of growing. According to research, GMO will not solve food crisis. It does not increase yield potential. There is an increase in pesticide use and also a decrease in the vitamin and mineral content of the food they're producing. Non-GMO cannot exist with GMO foods because of that cross-contamination, so that concerns me a lot. And there's been a lot of talk about how it's not safe to eat it. I personally try to stay away from it, and it's difficult. I'll go to buy something and take it home, and my son will say, "Mom, this is corn in it," and then it seems like now you have to go in a store and literally read every label because it's not labeled whether you have GMO or not. So if you're conscious and don't want to eat GMO and you can't afford organic, you're in big trouble. And we're trying to grow more, but time will tell. The other thing is with corporations, especially Monsanto, I don't trust their integrity. I think money's become the all-in-all, and their goal is they've got to keep their jobs, they got to make money, which means GMO products. So I'm hoping that you look at that and think of health first and be the first, like everybody said. We might be the organic chemical of the, capital of the world and bring a lot of money to this state. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Waimea, please introduce your speaker, and you have 3 minutes for your testimony.
Thank you. I have Thomas Penney here. He is in support of Bill 79, and he is representing the bill.
Hello, Thomas Penney, speaking and representing myself, and I'd like to express my enthusiastic support for Bill number 79. I think that this is an unprecedented opportunity for the Big Island to just say no to this type of agriculture. I am not a farmer, I'm a consumer, and I love the taste of organic food. I've lived on the Big Island for 33 years, and I've seen a lot of changes. One of the most encouraging changes happened probably within the last 5 years, and that was that I think people began to realize that if we do indeed run out of fossil fuels and peak oil becomes a reality, we're isolated. Mm-hmm. We have to be self-supporting. We have to sustain our own life here. And so was a huge upswing, a surge of people growing their own vegetables. And they said, okay, we would love to do this organically, and I cannot count how many people I've met who are involved in organic farming. I love their products. I wouldn't have dreamed 10 years ago that I would be able to have somebody drive up to my house once a week and deliver me a box of organic food. But this is a reality today. And I believe that this genetically modified farming poses a huge threat to this type of farming on the Big Island. And if indeed, as the evidence points to, we could destroy our organic agriculture here on the Big Island, and if they decide, okay, well, that was a bad experiment, started out as a good idea, but it went wrong, and now we're going to pull back everything that we've ever done, then we have no organic farming on the Big Island. I would also like to point out that there's an economic aspect to it which I think is extremely viable, and that is that because most people recognize that the food tastes better, it makes you feel better, that they're willing to pay a little bit more for it, and they are requesting it. They want it in their restaurants, they want it at their hotels. Anyway, I don't have any time left, so I would just like to say thank you, Margaret, for drafting this bill. I ran home at lunch and read it, and it's incredible in its scope, and I encourage anyone who hasn't read it to give it a close look. Thank you. I support this 100%.
Thank you, sir. Before I call any more testifiers up here on this issue, we have a small situation. You know, we're completely backed up on our agenda for the day. But we have 2 or 3 testifiers in Kona for the 245 committee, Public Works, Parks and Recreation Committee, that we would like to let them testify, and then with that committee will go into recess and we'll come right back here. If you would just bear with us, because I know you've been waiting all day and you're anxious to get this done, but we've been a little bit unfair to the other committees by continuing this, so please just bear with us for a little while on this. I am now putting the Public Safety and Mass Transit Committee into recess. Okay, Kimberly Fujioka, followed by Hawai'i Rios, and then after that, Nohea Crutcher, and Jim Albertini. So the last 2, if you'd come up to the front row, I'd appreciate it because that'll make it a little bit faster. And are you Kimberly Fujioka? Would you go ahead and start? You have 3 minutes. Please
on?
push the button. Okay, we
Okay,
got
it's
it.
on,
The light's
okay.
on.
Aloha, my name is Kimberly Fujioka, and I am in support of Bill 79, and I am a native Hawaiian. I wasn't going to mention that, but I heard a testifier earlier ask where the native Hawaiians, and I just wanted to say I am here. So I was born and raised on the Big Island of Hawaii on the Hamakua coast, and I live in an area where the smallest parcel is Ag 20, so 20 acres, at least 20 acres. And where that used to make my heart happy, it now scares me more than anything. I just recently spoke to a GMR farmer in my area who says that the Hamakua coast has the most fertile soil on the island. But if we continue to allow these genetically modified organisms onto our island and allow them to continue to poison our land, that soil won't be fertile for very long. I noticed today that my neighbor who lives a mile away from me, who I know has farming plans, is opposing the bill, and that scares me. That really scares me. I asked myself, when did we start getting so greedy? Because in the end, that's what it really boils down to. If you listen carefully, you hear it's businesses, small or big, on the island that are for GMOs. Obviously, I'm not a scientist, so I will share my personal experiences and speak from my heart. I started studying and researching GMOs when my daughter shared with me that her hair was falling out. I noticed her eczema was getting really bad, and she was getting sick 1 to 2 times a month. We've cut out GM foods from our diet for about 3 months now, and just last week she told me that her hair is growing back. Her eczema has cleared up considerably, and where she usually gets sick 1 to 2 times a month, in the past 3 months since cutting out GMs, she has only gotten sick once, and says that when she has no other options besides GM foods, she notices a difference in the way she feels. Because of this, I will pay 4 times the amount for organic food. My daughter is that important to me, and so is my family. I've paid way more for doctor visits that didn't help. And I also have a question as far as allergies. You know, my daughter has allergies, I have allergies. Now, when we say, for example, I have an allergy to a nut, and we cross a nut gene with a pig gene, now, do I get a reaction from eating Kalua pig? That, as a Hawaiian woman, that's heart-wrenching for me. I ask you to please not let them allow, and do not allow them to let them use us as an experiment.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Okay,
Your 3
thank
minutes
you.
is up.
Thank you.
Mr. Albertini, and then after Mr. Albertini, we'll go up to Waimea again.
Aloha, everyone. Aloha, council members, and thank you, Margaret, for introducing this important bill. I'm a longtime resident of Councilman Kern's district. I'm the president of Maluaina Center for Nonviolent Education and Action, an organization founded in 1979 that grows food to help people in need. I've been a farmer on this island for 33 years now, growing a wide variety of organic fruits and vegetables. I've also been a longtime nonviolent activist for justice, peace, and the environment. Over these many years, I've learned that the means we use in all that we do must be in line with the end that we seek. If we want a peaceful, just, and environmentally sustainable world, then the means we use must be peaceful, just, and environmentally sustainable. Whatever we do to the land, the water, the plants, and animals, we do to ourselves. When we bomb the Aina, we bomb ourselves. When we poison the Aina, we poison ourselves. GMO, genetically modified organisms, are a fundamental violation of this important, sacred principle of means and ends. It is not a natural process. It does not occur in nature. Fish do not breed with tomatoes in nature. GMOs manipulate nature, for short-term financial gain with potential long-term consequences. It is precisely this pattern of grabbing for short-term quick fixes that has our world on the path of unprecedented destruction, be it climate change, more Fukushimas, nuclear war, or global economic collapse. To support Bill 79 for a GMO ban in Hawaii County is a small but a very important step of affirming the long-term life and sovereignty of the land over the short-term quick fix of financial gain for the few at the expense of the many. It is a step that affirms the sacredness and the interconnection of all life. It is a step for future generations and the earth itself, and for which this council can take great pride. Mahalo.
Thank you, sir. We're going to go to Waimea, and when we come back here, I found that I took somebody, left somebody out of the order. Fernando Salas will be the first speaker here in Hilo, followed by, did Hawani Rios come up? No, she didn't. So Fernando, you please come up now, and go ahead, Waimea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have Judy Syrop. She represents herself, and she's in support of Bill 79.
Aloha. I'm in support of Bill 79 to safeguard the Hawaii people and the Aina. And there has not been enough research done on this, and I feel it would be a big mistake to let this into our beautiful state. And I know it's already here, but everyone should do their part and to stop it in any way they can. And Hawaii could be a leader in this to show the rest of the country that it can be done. That would be awesome. Just have to stand up and say no and be in support of Bill 79 is a wonderful thing, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Mark Harrell. He's representing himself, and he's also in support of Bill 79.
Aloha. I've been living on this beautiful island for 21 years, and I've grown greatly to respect it and love it and the people here. For the past 35 years, I've been a physical fitness trainer and nutritionist, and perhaps on scientific levels, there have not maybe been enough extensive research. However, in the alternative medicine arena, there has been plenty enough research done to know that the damaging effects of GMO foods, and that's basically my entire life basically has been dedicated to boosting the immune system, knowing that that's what the real preventive measure is against disease. And what the GMO foods do are they enter into the system and introduce food items that the immune system has absolutely no familiarity with. There's no mechanism for dealing with what's coming into the body, and it completely confuses the immune system and actually weakens it to such a point that in addition to a weakening it, the GMO foods introduce, because of the confusion that's going on, introduce activity in the body that introduces even other diseases that we've never even had before in our body that our immune system is not equipped to handle. In addition, they weaken our immune system to the diseases that we already have going on in our society. So I am vehemently opposed to GMO and strongly support Bill number 79, begging that we do not allow this in our INA on our islands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Fernando Salas, followed by, we've already got Mr. Albertini, hold on. And Zachary Mermel after Mr. Salas. If you're still here, Zachary, are you here? No, I'm putting you to one side. Adam Sharf, please come forward, take the other seat. Mr. Salas, please go forward.
Thank you, Mrs. Brenda, and thank you, Mrs. Wille, for Bill 79. I've been sitting here for a couple hours. I heard plenty different testimonies, and one of the breaks I spoke with my son, which is in Vegas, and he told me, Dad, take it to a higher level. Let's send the message to the government. Let's speak about the crime behind this, the corporate crime. I mean, it's so many history on Monsanto. We have India, we have South America, we have Europe. Here, as an example, one of the Facing Hawaiian's Future will tell you a little bit more on definitions of some of the consequences. And while I spoke to my son, he was saying, Dad, what is legal on recombining DNA? Means the transfer of genes, regulatory sequence of nucleic acid between hosts by the use of vectors on laboratories manipulation, and it includes the insertion and excision, duplication, inactivation, relocation of specific genes. I mean, we moving to a transformation. Our kids in Hawaii especially, and other children coming from different parts of the United States, they're all aware that we need to do something about this. We got to stop this government corruption. This is the higher level that my son was talking about. We have government Supreme Court judge, Prior to being the Supreme Court judge, he was involved in putting Bush, on office. His name is Clarence Thomas. I mean, we have a whole bunch of employees right now. I'm not going to go about giving names right now. I mentioned one of them, but we have to stop it. We have to do something about our future, our grandchildren's. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salas. Mr. Sharf, please turn the light on. Thank you. Identify yourself by name and keep the microphone fairly close to you.
My name is Adam Sharf. I'm a Big Island farmer, rancher, Hamakua side. I want to speak specifically about ranching side and the livestock side and share that there are solutions out there. 60 to 70% of my livestock costs, production costs, were associated with feed, and 30% of those costs were landing that feed here on Big Island. So I do understand the drivers that force other ranchers and dairy operations and poultry farms to find alternatives to providing feed for the livestock that ends up on our plates. And in this case, as we're hearing a lot about, it's GMO-based corn that's grown here. We're just going to be grown here on Big Island. Just like to offer some hope that at my place we deploy a technology that grows a non-GMO based food, barley, and it's barley fodder. We've reduced our feed costs by 80%. And we've increased the quality of the food that we're putting on our plates. We've been so successful in doing it at our place locally that most of my neighbors, friends, and a lot of the livestock community have approached us and encouraged us to go into business and provide solutions for other farmers, ranchers here on Big Island. And we've been doing that, but I'm not here to self-serve. I just want to let you all know, the big dairies and anyone else who's listening and those who need help and who want to have a non-GMO future and take control of their own destiny. You can do it yourself, can do it yourself in your own backyard, and you can raise non-GMO feed to give to your livestock to keep them from ingesting that. So I encourage other ranchers and dairy operations to explore their options, and ones that don't include raising GMO crops to feed their livestock that eventually ends up on our plates. And I'd like to thank you all, and I strongly support Bill 79.
Thank you, Mr. Sharf. It's Adam Sharf. Thank you. Okay, the next two speakers